Council, I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Chisholm City Council for November 10th, 2021. Margaret, could you take roll call, please?
Councilor Halverson.
Present.
Councilor Michelaraha.
Present.
Councilor Fountain. Here. Councilor Lance.
Here.
Councilor Vaki.
Here.
Mayor Champa.
Here. Adopt agenda. Margaret, there are no changes other than we had one page missing, right? This page 55, that's our only.
That's correct, Mayor. Thank you.
The council motion to approve the agenda or adopt the agenda, I should say. Like I said, page 55, Margaret emailed off to us, but other than that, the agenda is as printed.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Travis. Second for that. Thank you, Cheyenne. Margaret?
Councilor Halverson.
Aye.
Councilor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Councilor Fountain. Aye. Councilor Lance.
Aye.
Councilor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, the agenda is adopted. Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, public participation. Folks, we have on with us tonight Kirsten Satella Foster. And I seen another name. Stephanie told me Christine Elwood, I believe, is part of that group as well with Minnesota Department of Transportation, having to do with our 2020 census results and our state aid funding. And in our communications, there's also kind of an update on our whole demographic thing. But good evening to you.
Thank you.
So give us all the bad news or the good news.
Yes, we do not want to be bearers of bad news, but we are here to talk to you about state aid, municipal street, state aid system funding. I'm Christine Elwood. I'm the Assistant Commissioner for MnDOT and also the state aid engineer. With me is also Kristen Foster. She is our district representative. So there's staff in St. Paul, but we have state aid folks all over the state, and she is your representative in District 1. And so I'm going to do the first part of this, and Kristen will cover the second part. And don't worry, you can just call us whatever you want. Since our names are so close, don't worry about any confusion there. We're easygoing. So next slide, Kristen. So our state aid program is made up of 87 counties throughout the state, and then we have 150 cities. And our job is to work with all of those local agencies, distribute funds according to laws, regulations, constitution, and how everything is established. So we have 150 cities. Chisholm is one of those. And then, like I said, our 87 counties. Go on to the next slide, Kristen. So just a little bit of facts for you on state aid. So the money you pay at the gas pump, fuel tax revenue, the money you pay for taxes on your vehicle and license fees all goes into a pot of money, and that is distributed for all the roads that are across the state. And here you can see the makeup. The trunk highways are the ones that MnDOT has ownership over. County state aid highway system, and then municipal state aid streets. And Chisholm has a percentage of your streets that are on that state aid system. It's not all of the streets that are on that system. And that is intentionally, there's more roads, that carry more traffic, have more of a regional trip in and across the state. As you get to the counties, still a regional trip, and there's less regional trips for cities. So that's kind of how the formula is made or broken up of how those funds are distributed, just based on on the travel and connections. State aid was established in 1957. So we have been administering these funds for a long time. And just make sure I'm not missing here. So the cities are eligible for state aid, and about 193 million was distributed last year, and Chisholm received 287,000 in 2021. So some of that money went towards maintenance expenses for your state aid system, and most of your allotment went to construction contracts or reimbursement for construction projects on the state aid system. You can go to the next slide, Kristen. So just a little bit more information. So how does the city become eligible for state aid? Well, you have to have a population of 5,000 or more. That is in the Constitution. Which cities are, or which streets are really designated as the state aid system? Well, there's a combination of, like I said, kind of that hierarchy. Generally, up to 20% of the miles in a city are designated as state aid roadways. And MSAS means Municipal State Aid System Streets. So it's really the Minnesota Constitution that sets forth the population requirements, as I said, and the state law places limits on the number of eligible miles that each city can designate based on our rules and our statutes. And then Kristen knows your city better than I do, just because she's your designated district person. I'm going to turn it over to her so she can talk through some specifics.
Thanks, Christine. As Christine mentioned, up to about 20% of a city's system can be designated as state aid streets. So here's a snapshot of some of the municipal state aid streets in Chisholm around your downtown area and the school, those streets that have generally heavier traffic compared to some of the other residential routes in town. Next slide, please. What I want to talk about is how does the census or population relate to a city's state aid designation, just to give you a little bit more food for thought on that topic. There are a few exceptions to the federal census results that we recently received a copy of. A city may pursue a special census if a city thinks that would be worth your time and effort. It does come at city expense. If there's disagreement with a federal census, that is one option set forth in state law, that a city could pursue a special census instead. Between federal decennial censuses, we use the state demographer's estimates of population. So if the state demographer's office notifies MnDOT that a city's population is greater than 5,000 between, say, 2020 and 2030, in this case, that city would become or remain a state aid city in that case. And if neither of the above occurs, if neither the federal census is above 5,000, nor the state demographer's estimate is above 5,000, a former state aid city retains state aid eligibility and receives your allotment through the end of the first calendar year that ends in 5 after the census. So in this case, if Chisholm's population does not grow, Chisholm would receive an allotment through 2025, and 2026 would be the first year that Chisholm potentially does not receive state aid support. Looking a little bit closer at your population history, for those who have been around a while, you might remember your population was below 5,000 in the last census as well. However, the state demographer's estimate crept up above 5,000 for the years 2012 through 2015. And that is why the city remained a state aid city through 2020 or through the current year. And if you've been around for more than 20 years, you might remember that happened back in 2000, and there were some different laws in place at that time compared to the legislation that we're charged with implementing now. What this all means, because Chisholm's 2020 census results are currently below 5,000. If the city's population estimate or a special census doesn't bring the city back up again before 2025, you are potentially looking at some state aid account debt. So what this graph here will show you, you had a particularly ambitious construction program in 2019 and 2020, a lot of great improvements made for your community and your residents, and that has left your state aid account with some debt. Right now, one of those three projects, the 13th Street project, has been reimbursed, and the state aid account debt is about $756,000. When the remaining two projects are reimbursed, that debt will grow to a little bit over 1 million. The city staff has presented those requests for reimbursement, and there aren't funds available right now to approve those requests. So you are potentially looking at about 180,000 of debt come 2025. Next slide, please. We didn't want to be here tonight to talk about a problem, though, without also helping the city understand what your options are. So I mentioned before, there are a couple of options provided in state law. You might wish to pursue a special census, or maybe the state demographer's population estimates will creep back up again and bring the city over 5,000. We'll keep in touch with those for sure. Otherwise, you might want to start thinking about ways to reduce that state aid account debt before 2026. And one of the things that you have discretion over is how much of your state aid funds you put towards maintenance compared to how much you put towards construction, which then pays down this debt. Right now, Chisholm is budgeting 25% of your allotment towards maintenance services, and you could budget a lesser amount towards maintenance services if you want to, and that is one way to help decrease that debt before 2026, if that's your preferred option. For those who are looking at your packet, the chart in your packet would be option 3, is the most conservative option for reducing the city's liability before 2026. And we wanted to be here to give you plenty of time to think this through. You don't need to make a decision on this matter this year. We wanted to get out and answer your questions a few years ahead of time and let you get to know who we are in case you want to call or contact us with any questions as they come up in the future. And I think that's all we have, but we would be happy to stand for questions. Thank you.
Kristen Mayor Champa, Kristen Foster. Just a quick question. So you have the demographer, is that the correct way to say that? Comes out, hold on, my computer wants to scan, give me a minute. Okay, comes in, and apparently they do a kind of a rough census every year. I see there's their number every year. What, if it goes above 5,000 one time before 2025, we're okay? Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, that is correct.
Okay. Any idea? Obviously, you know, we're quite a way away with the 250 or 225, whatever it is. So I'm thinking that demographer, yeah, that's a hard word for me, may really struggle to get it up over 5,000 because it was just inched over on a lot closer years. Do you have any idea how we figure out how to get the U.S. Census involved in a city census? Is that the term? Just.
Mr. Mayor and councilors, I do not have any experience with that process. Christine, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, we haven't been in this situation since I've been in this position, but we're happy to look into it a little bit and provide some information back to Jim and Stephanie.
Okay, appreciate it. Councilor, any questions for these nice young ladies that came to talk to us tonight? All right, well, we appreciate you coming and sharing that information with us. We have it in our packet tonight, so we're aware of it as well. So,
Thanks,
Thank
Christine
you.
and Kristen. Thank you.
Thanks, Cam.
Jim knows where we are if you need anything. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep, you too. Thank you. All right, council, move on to reports. Adam, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. First off, I'd just like to congratulate Dylan Anderson on 9 years with the fire department. So thank you very much, Dylan, for everything you've done and continue to do, one of our officers. We did for the Halloween. We were down at the fire hall and it was packed. I'm sure everybody else will have a comment about what our downtown looked like, but it was amazing. Everybody from surrounding communities and lots of friends from over in the West Ranges, East Ranges, everyone came over. We were running down to Jubilee with everybody else trying to buy more snacks and goodies for the kids, but it was wonderful. So thank you, Chamber, for putting that on and everybody else that had something to do with it. I'm sure our chief will touch base. There's a little bit of an accident at a fire scene that we had the other day. And I'd just like to, just comment on how our truck placement really saved lives. If that individual could have come through there, I think we would have been, unfortunately, having a fatality in our community. So just something that, another aspect of the job of a firefighter. We go over the firefighter deaths every month and talk about them, and vehicle accidents is the number one cause, typically, of line of duty deaths. Either responding to accidents and scenes or individuals, rubberneckers, people not paying attention. So I just like a quick shout out to everybody else in our department for everything they do. Thank you all. So back to the Halloween, Steve and Joyce Brunette, they did a great job putting on some information for individuals. They went around the community to find, folks to donate. We gave away 3 fire detectors, smoke detectors. McDonald's donated a couple of jugs of Kool-Aid. Caribou Coffee donated some coffee for us and everybody else that was coming down through there. So thank you, Steve and Joyce, for doing that for us. Other than that, I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Cheyenne, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening. I did attend the Halloween event, and it was fun. It was adorable. I loved it. I hope they do it again next year. It was so much fun. As far as reports, that's all I have.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Travis, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening. You have to turn your volume all the way down. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So first and foremost, I just want to make a quick statement regarding a social media post that is out there with my name in it. I acknowledge that it's out there. It's an unfortunate situation that it is out there. As I stated in my email to council and mayor, Stephanie does have a statement clearing me of any and all allegations. And I hope that for everyone involved, people are able to move forward with that. So I just wanted to let the citizens know that I am aware of the post going around. Aside from that, I did attend a chamber meeting this morning, so I have a few dates for you guys as far as the chamber goes. Katie's going to talk about lighting up Chisholm a little bit later, so I'll leave that to her. December 4th, the Kiwanis Club is going to be doing the Holly Jolly. It will be at the Von Steffenrud from 11 to 2. So change of scenery. That will be at the Von Steffenrud this year. And then just a heads up for Larry, we have looked at the date of Saturday, February 26th for Sled the City. So you can mark that date down. We're looking to combine that with a fat tire bike race at the Redhead. So aside from that, that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. April, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I have no formal report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, April. What do you report tonight? Good evening.
Good evening. Last Tuesday, I attended a Redhead Committee meeting at Valentini's with city staff. Steph was there, and Travis was there, and Shannon from the chamber, and also representatives from IROC and Minnesota Discovery Center. And that's all I have for a report.
Thank you, Marty. Just quickly, council, I just want to just mention that the accident with the fire department again. Very inexpensive accident when we damage a few vehicles. That could have been so much worse. I'm sure our entire fire department is looking at that as a training, additional training, to just how dangerous your guys' jobs are out there. So very inexpensive when all we do is damage a vehicle when something like that happens. So very fortunate. I read this on Facebook. The individual's actually a friend of mine, and he posted about how thankful he was that the fire department helped him out and the first responders. He's actually disabled from, I believe, from the waist down. He's in a wheelchair, and he rolled his van over. Just interesting, the type of situations that our first responders can get themselves in. You know, you have an individual that probably very difficult in helping themselves get out of there. And what do you do with them when you get them out? So a lot of extra training there that you have to think about when you're in those situations. I think I'll let Larry talk a little bit more about this, but our committee met with Bruce Rudstrom, our internal candidate for Larry Pervenanzi's jack of all trades job, basically the guy that fixes our stuff in our buildings and takes care of things at the campground and whatnot. And like I said, I'll let Larry talk about it, but we have made the decision per contract to allow Bruce to move into that position and work with Larry for the next 30 days, which time I believe, like I said, I'll let Larry say, but I believe he makes a recommendation and he can be moved into that position at the end, sometime at the end of the 30 days. And then the last item I have is I was contacted by the St. Louis County Fair Board, individual from the Fair Board, a couple of months ago, and they told me they were in the middle of negotiating with Iron Range Resources for a new lease at, the Discovery Center area up there where the fairgrounds is. And they asked me if I wanted to attend last Thursday night at 10 o'clock at night. I got a call from that same individual and asked me if I could be at the fairgrounds at, I think it was 11 o'clock next morning, as I'm trying to get out of town for deer hunting. Of course, I went up there to listen to basically the negotiation between Discovery Center, Iron Range Resources, the county. There were county commissioners up there. I did ask Travis to go along with me. It was 10 o'clock at night. I was trying to figure out who I could text at 10 o'clock at night and see if we could get a second council person up there. So we basically sat and listened into the negotiation. And the county board member works with Larry quite a bit on things at the fairgrounds, and he invited Larry up himself. So we're all there and listened in, and they've invited us back for additional discussions. Stephanie was out of town, but she's going to be kind of the contact person. They have already reached out to her and scheduled that next kind of that talk about the new contract. I believe next Friday. I didn't write it on my calendar yet, but in any case, Stephanie's going to be there, and she asked me to go along with her. So once again, we're going to go and out and listen in what they're doing. Obviously, I don't know how the rest of the council feels. I know that St. Louis County Fair is really a neat thing to have here, and to me, we got to do whatever we got to do to keep them there. It's a good event. They bring in a lot of people. So I think that's all I got. Council, anything to add, comments on anything anybody said before we move on to our staff? All right, let's move on. We'll move on to Jess, our ambulance director. Good evening, Jess. Report tonight.
Good evening, everybody. Let me see. So we do have the job ads posted for EMTs that we're hiring, both in the newspaper and social media. I've got a couple of different flyers that we've been posting on social media. I also want to add that if anybody, EMTs, council members, coworkers, public, anybody, if anyone has any questions about anything or wants to just sit down and chat about my vision for the ambulance service and plans and policies and all that fun stuff, I have an open door. Anybody is free to reach out to me and contact me with any questions that they might have. On flipping gears here, I believe I mentioned last meeting that we were looking into AEDs and replacing the AEDs throughout the city. Per Minnesota statute, if those AEDs do not have, or if any pads are expired, if batteries are low, so on and so forth, they have to be removed from service. And unfortunately, they were. So I did have to remove all of the AEDs from the city buildings with the exception of the library. Theirs is still good right now. We're in the process of determining what we want to replace those AEDs with because the current ones are discontinued by the manufacturer as well. So moving quickly on that so we can get that safety item replaced. And I just want to mention that serendipitously, with the mentions of all the wreck, this week is also Crash Responder Safety Week. And the theme for this year is slow down, move over, be safe. That's just to protect not only the first responders, but tow truck drivers and everybody that may be involved in a crash scene. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Council, anything for Jess? Thank you, Jess. Have a good night. All right, move on. Building official Mandy report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. No, just a short little report. All of our demos are down except for one duplex that is tax forfeit. We had some asbestos in the attic that needed to be removed there. So they were busy working on that today, and that will be taken down by the end of the week. Also, our OSHA annual training has been scheduled, and we are going to go through Advanced Minnesota with that. We do have all our employees signed up. And I think that's it. For now, I do not have anything on the agenda tonight.
Thank you, Mandy. Council, anything for Mandy? All right, moving on. Economic development, Stephanie. Good evening.
Mayor and council members. We had an economic development board meeting this last week, and we will have a new storefront improvement grant coming out thanks to a grant that we received from CCF. The grant will be upwards, the maximum will be $2,000, and it can be used for windows, paint, carpet, anything of that nature. That will be coming out soon. We also discussed our plan to address the housing needs in Chisholm during our EDA meeting, which is going to probably look like a mix of different housing uses, newer development, and then rehab program within the city. I think that's all I have.
Thank you. Council, anything for Stephanie on the EDA side? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you, Stephanie. City Engineer Jim, report tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Just a quick one. As most of you probably already know, a week ago, we got 3rd Street Northwest paved. The contractor worked most of last week getting the boulevards and lawns graded. And today, those turf areas were mulched. We can't get sod until next spring, but it's looking very nice out there. So I think we're pretty close. We've just got a few items left, mainly on our sanitary sewer. We need to have some cleaning and retelevising done just to make sure we don't have some issues. And I think there's one tracer wire box on a sanitary sewer lateral that they couldn't find a wire on, so they're still trying to find that wire so they can get that last one installed. But for all intents and purposes, it's operational. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. Council, anything for the engineer tonight? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you, Jim. Public Works, Larry, report tonight.
Evening, everyone. Thanks, Mayor. Just a few updates. The talk of the town, of course, is the pending snowstorm, maybe rainstorm into slushy yuck. So we'll keep an eye on that. I have a driver on standby ready to go with the sand truck and full crew for Friday morning, hopefully, if it holds off that long. So we'll see where that ends. If any of you follow the forecasting like I do, it's not what it used to be. It seems to be completely wrong. So we just play by hour. So, but as the mayor mentioned there, the internal interview went very well. We've started that 30-day clock per contract for the employee, and then I'll be bringing back to you folks permission to hopefully fill that other vacancy to follow. So, in the 2.5 years I've been here, this is the first time that we've been fully staffed and went into one of these switches. So that's really great. There was a time there we were down 3.5 to 4 employees. So that's a big deal to be fully staffed and then have this 30-day trial. So as we go through the process, we're prepped for winter. We're ready to go. We have a few minor repairs to make in the shop on a couple of vehicles, but that's what we find every year when we prep. So everything's in service, ready to go. We took the flags down this week, which we wait till the very, very last day. They're so nice up there, even if they're in terrible shape with tails on them, whipping in the wind. It's just really nice. So, and all of you are very aware of that. We talked a little bit this week about the 18% electric rate increase. Adjusted all of my budgets, submitting back to Arlene. We're probably done sweeping, depending on next week's weather. We're working on the lighting project at the arena still with the vendor. We're still having a few problems up there, but I think we're on the right path now. So we've escalated it all the way to the top. And then that's about it. Watching Katie's project there with the Christmas lights and LED lit buildings there on 3rd Avenue intersection, and I've submitted the rebates to Minnesota Power already for those LED lights. And other than that, we're ready for the snow and the rain and the slush.
Thank you, Larry. Council, any questions for Larry? All right, we'll move on.
Thank you.
Chris, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I guess just a short one, just to touch up on last week's, what you guys have talked about on last week's fire out in Vulcan. We actually had 2 trucks go down that night. The second one hit a deer. So I'd like to thank Larry and Lenny to getting that truck fixed for us. They did it. They got on it right away, and within a couple of days, we had that rescue 2 back. So there's only some minor cosmetic damage on it now, but a deer took out the radiator and the fan, and Larry was able to get that fixed for us. So thanks a lot, Larry. Appreciate it. Thanks to Stephanie and Margaret with all the insurance stuff, getting those trucks going. I know you received a call. I had Jason call the mayor and Stephanie right after the incident happened, just to let them know so nobody found out on social media. Adam hit it right on the nose. I can tell you, when we train to park our rigs in a certain way so we are protected as much as possible when we are out on some of these scenes, especially like that one. We're working out of the road because there was no driveway to work out of. So that truck, I have no doubt, saved somebody's life that night, or at the very least, serious injury could have been more than one of us. That person, if nobody knows, he deliberately drove his vehicle at a high rate of speed into our fire scene. So it could have been a lot worse. The guys were not really shaken up, but they were very professional about it. They kept on doing their jobs. Everybody
relayed that everybody was okay at the scene right away. So, but yeah, you wouldn't think that kind of stuff happens around here, but it does. So I just want to thank everybody for reaching out to us, seeing how everybody was doing. That is all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chris. Council, anything for the fire department? All right, move on. Library, Katie, report tonight. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I was just looking over our October and our numbers. We've officially been open for 6 months now. And our numbers have just been steadily increasing every month, which is great to see. In October, we had over 1,600 visits. So numbers are almost back to pre-COVID. So that's great to see. We also had on October 20th, we had the third graders come visit the library for their annual field trip. And it's just always so great to have them. The kids are at such a fun age and they're just excited about everything. So it's really fun to have those kids back and get to see all of them. We also participated in the Lake Street trick-or-treating. And as you already know, that was a very successful event. We had over 600 people stop in at the library and get some candy. So hope to see that continue. Other than that, the Arrowhead Library System right now has a design contest going for a new library card. And this is a contest for adults 18 and older. And entries are going to be accepted now until November 24th. So if anybody's interested, you can come pick up an application at the library. And we also have it posted on our Facebook page. And that's about it.
Thank you, Katie. Council, anything for our librarian? Katie, I just want to mention that if anybody thinks libraries are a thing of the past with technology, they're wrong. I was just going through your numbers and I'm just like going, wow, you guys like loan out a lot of stuff.
We do. People are always very shocked when I tell them the numbers that we see on a daily basis. So it's good to see.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on. Police chief, report tonight, Vern.
Mr. Mayor, just one quick update. Mr. Carbo's omnibus motion was denied by Judge Friday, and we got the official notice. So that omnibus in the Doherty case is finally over, and that trial will start, or that court case will start proceeding now that the omnibus is over.
Chief, what's that word actually mean for?
Omnibus, quickest way to say it, it's a trial on the evidence. The defendant gets to question whether evidence should be entered into the court proceedings. And in this case, all of his motions were denied, so all of the evidence will go forward and be part of the, or can potentially be part of the trial process. It's a win for us.
Yes, thank you, Vern. Council, anything for the police department? All right, we'll move on. Rec Director Tammy, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, a short report. I was about to order the lumber for our backstop for our skating rink, and Larry had suggested that I talk to the Yoder building. And I told him it was for the kids and all the amenities that we have in that area. And he originally would have given us a discounted rate for the lumber of $1,100 and some dollars, and he said since it's for the kids, he would give it to us for $500 at a discounted rate. And I had agreed then to put up a sign of his on the backstop, giving him some advertisement. We do not have to do a resolution because we are still paying for the product, but it's at a discounted rate. So thank you, Larry Falstad, saved the city a few dollars. We've changed the hours of the youth center. We're trying to take more of the kids after school. So we're now opening from 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And when the school's closed, so are we. That's all I have for a report tonight. Thank you.
Council, any questions for the rec department or Tammy? Tammy served on our selection committee today to interview our applicant for Larry's job, and she brings forward really good questions even for a existing employee. You gotta get her on your selection committee. All right, we'll move on. Thank you, Tammy. City Attorney report tonight, Brian. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. No formal report, but I am happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Council, anything for the attorney? Thank you, Brian. City Clerk Treasurer Eileen, good evening. Report tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Just a couple things. The Minnesota Department of Revenue paid us a visit to audit our diesel fuel tax reports, and we received an A+ for that audit. We also were able to make the final selection of our accountant candidate process. And I did speak with that individual today, and they will let me know their decision as to whether or not to move to the next steps in the process by next Monday. So I'm excited about that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Council, questions for Eileen? All right, we'll move on. City Administrator Stephanie, report on that.
I do not have a formal report tonight. I just want to thank the staff. They do such a great job. We have a lot of moving parts in the city and everything moves very smooth and thanks to them, it just makes my job a lot easier.
Thank you. Council, anything for Stephanie? All right, we'll move past our reports. All right. Consent agenda, your list of bills. Communications, which are the fire department minutes, police commission minutes, library report, Chisholm Community Foundation grant for the EDA, Minnesota State Demographic Center 2020 Census Bureau and household counts, minutes of the previous city council meetings, the October 25th, 2021 working session, October 27th, 2021 regular meeting, payroll and overtime. I get a motion to accept consent agenda, Council.
Mr. Mayor, I do have some corrections on some minutes. Under my report on October 27th, regular council meeting, just some minor corrections, just so everybody knows all the numbers correctly. I was reporting on Redhead. Let's see here. The sentence that starts with Council Harrison reported on the Redhead Mountain Bike Park. If you change that period to a comma, insert the word and then cross out Minnesota Discovery Center. Because they did not report on that, so need that correction. And then a couple lines down, right after $95,000 year to date, a 10% number should be 16%. And on the next line, right after roller derby trail, should also be 16%, 16. Next line should be the Weeper connector trail, not connector trail. And if you cross out had maintenance, because that's a new trail, so it should say the Weeper connector trail is new, and there is a new bonus trail, goes down to the island. That was 19%, 19. And then there should be an insertion, a new sentence that says the rim trail required the remainder of the work, which was 49%. And that is that's the summary of the work the city did out at Redhead this summer. And then back at the beginning of the minutes, call to order. I guess I didn't catch this until reading it this time, but it's been there for a while. Governor Walz's executive orders have expired, so we're no longer meeting on Zoom because of that reason. I mean, we're still doing it because of social distancing and concerns over COVID-19, but the executive orders have expired. So we may not continue saying that in our meeting minutes. And then I guess lastly, at the October 27th meeting on page 21 under lease agreement for ambulance building. It's either 321 or 329. In the paragraph above, it says 329, and this it says 321. It's minor. We just have a typo on the address on. I think it's the one under lease agreement. I think it's 329 First Street Northwest. And that is all I have.
Margaret, did you get Marty's corrections?
Yes, I did, Mayor. Thank you, Counselor Halverson.
Hold on, we didn't make a motion yet.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
there was just one thing on page 21 for, just to make sure because we spent probably about 10 minutes last meeting about the memo of understanding for May vacation and overtime. Just to make sure that the reading is correct here. Can you review that, Mr. Mayor? Please, to make sure.
I think it is for me, April. What? Yeah, it seems right for me. I know we had quite a discussion about what that meant. Both you and I were like, what's that mean? But yeah, that seems okay. Okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve the agenda with the correction. Approve the consent agenda with the corrections, Council.
Make the motion, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Second for the motion.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Further discussion? On it?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. All right, we'll get into the meeting. First item, Jim, Minnesota Department of Transportation 2020 census results, state aid funds. Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Basically, Kristen and Christine went through that information, and I think it's just for your information only at this point. If you do look on page 27, Kristen had presented a couple of the scenarios because of our advancing construction funds, which are basically a 0% loan to the city that then get repaid through our annual allocation on the construction funds. And she presents several different scenarios there, but all of those scenarios dealing with 2022, 23, 24, and 25 are based on the allocation that was made in 2021. If you, on that top scenario, option 1, if you look at the total allotment in 2020, it was almost $319,000 to the city. In 2021, because of COVID-19, the revenues were down about 7%, so the allocation was down to just under $287,000. And as she does the projection forwards in terms of repayment, everything is based on that 2021 allocation. And I anticipate that to go back up, but it is something that Stephanie, Eileen, and I will continue to monitor, such that if we can't get our population back up over 5,000 by 2025, when we get to the end, we'll be down to virtually zero that would have to take out of city funds to repay back to MnDOT. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have, but it's really just an informational item. as presented by Kristen and Christine tonight. Thank you.
Jim, I have a question. I'm not going to dwell on this, but how long have we been borrowing ahead like this? I know when I came into office, Dave Carlstrom was kind of an interim administrator at the time, and he mentioned that we were borrowed quite a bit ahead. And I didn't really know what that means, and I'm not going to dwell on it. Obviously, what the report we have in front of us tells us that best case scenario, we have no state aid funding for our street projects till 2025 that we can actually use. I mean, just to try to get more project done, is that the whole?
We've actually been doing that probably at least over the last 10 years. I'm thinking we probably first dipped into it when we were doing the stuff on 6th Street Southwest and Southeast, and on our state aid projects since then, which include 13th Street, 8th Street, our 4th Avenue Mill and Overlay project last year, all part of those. Basically, it was a benefit to us because we're allowed to borrow interest-free up to 5 times our construction allocation per year. So it's just a way of financing, getting the projects done sooner and through a loan process, which is interest-free. So.
All right. Council, anything else on that for Jim?
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on. Jess, medical director contract for ambulance service. We expected on this meeting.
Yes, so I'm just asking for council's approval to contract with MJM Medical Director Consortium for medical director services. And I do want to note, as Margaret pointed out, that Chisholm is actually misspelled in the contract. I apologize, I didn't catch that earlier. It is corrected in the copy that will be signed, and they know about that spelling error as well.
Also looking for a motion to approve that medical director contract for ambulance services.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Cheyenne. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Campa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you, Jess. We'll move on to Vern's items. First one, accept Officer Harley Figgins' letter of resignation. Council looking for a motion to accept her letter of resignation and send her a letter thanking her for her time served in the city of Chisholm from me.
Motion.
Thank you, Adam. Support. Thank you, Travis. Vern, anything you want to add there?
Nope. Just formality at this point, losing two good officers here, but that's their viewers.
I just want to add, yes, they are both good officers, this one and the next one, and they sure write nice resignation letters as well, too. Did you have a course on that or what? They thank all the right people. They do a good job. They did a really good job with both letters. I read them. All right, we have a motion of support to accept the letter of resignation and the resignation of Harley Figgins and send her a letter thanking her for her time. There's no further discussion. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Campa.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Second item under Vern, Brandon Zoop. That's letter of resignation from the police department. Motion to accept his letter of resignation.
Motion.
Thank you, Travis. Second for that.
Second.
Thank you, April. Another well-written letter. Council, any other discussion? Another good officer. I seen them on their St. Louis County Sheriff's Department page. All their new officers. It's kind of sad. We had 3 of them there, but good for them. They're doing their best to increase, better themselves. You can't hold that against a person. You certainly can't. So, Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion carries. We'll move on to Katie's item. I'll let her just take this one. She has so much fun with this. Good evening.
I did have fun with this. So this event kind of came out of COVID from last year. Some good things really did come out of that. And so as you probably know, I'm part of the Downtown Revitalization Committee in Chisholm, and we're looking at putting on this event again on December 2nd. And so we're looking for approval to declare this a citywide festival. And just light up downtown Chisholm. So we'll be turning the lights on at dusk, so around 5 p.m. The llamas will be back. We're going to include a story stroll and a book reading outside the library before the lights turn on. So just looking for local businesses to hopefully get involved, put on some lights, some local residents, and see how much of Chisholm we can light up on December 2nd. So yeah, just hoping to get approval to declare this a citywide festival. And just for some clarification, we're not going to be closing off Main Street. Main Street will still be open for vehicles to pass through. This just allows people to have a beverage of choice on Main Street if that is something they are looking to do, and also just opens up some more possibilities for our local businesses to participate.
Thank you, Katie. Council, Katie's looking for a motion to hold a citywide festival on December 2nd, 2021 to hold this event. Great event from last year. Fun event.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Second for a motion.
Support.
Thank you, Adam. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Thank you, Katie. Eileen, resolution 1121-89, accept reimbursement from Greenwood Township.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. So this resolution is to officially accept the reimbursement funds we received from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. And this stems from the work that our fire department did related to the Greenwood fire. Jason and submitted invoices, and this resolution is to receive those funds, which we have received from the state.
Council is looking for a motion to adopt resolution 1121-89 to accept $17,223.04 from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources as a reimbursement on that Greenwood fire.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Adam. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, April. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Fiscal year 2021 budget amendment notification for street department. Eileen?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. So the original intent of this budget amendment notification was to communicate to the council the changes that Larry Folstead and I made to his fiscal year 2021 budget, which is really just the transference of available balances within the same department. But after revisiting the budget amendment process that I put together, a resolution is required by the council. So I just wanted to let you know then that street budget amendment has been completed, and in the next council meeting, I will have a resolution prepared to present to the council for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Council, anything on that before we move on? All right, thank you, Eileen. We'll move on to Stephanie's items. Stephanie, lease agreement for St. Louis County Fair to lease space in City Hall.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. We were approached by Karen from the St. Louis County Fair Board that they were looking at a new space to hold their office. And she had the opportunity to look at some space that we had downstairs. Office, when you come down the stairs, it'll be to the left, and then to the left again, we have an office space there that they're interested in leasing. Attached is the lease agreement for that property. They're interested in starting their lease December 1st.
Council looking for a motion to approve that lease agreement with St. Louis County to allow them to use the office space downstairs.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Travis. Second for that?
Second.
Thank you, April. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye, the motion carries. Also, next item, MOU for our building officials contract. More of an oversight than anything. When we redid our contracts, so it lined up with everybody else's contract. So it was a January through December contract. There were 3 months, October, November, and December, that were added into that contract. So this contract's a little bit longer. And the oversight was that we didn't have any accrual of her vacation in there. And this MOU would basically correct that so that she does accrue her roughly 4 days of vacation in this last quarter of 2021. Would that be correct, Stephanie?
Yes, that is correct, Mayor.
So looking for a motion also to accept a memorandum of understanding fixing that mistake. Basically, it's a mistake.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you, Adam, for the second. Further discussion, Council? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. Schedule a working session to discuss 2022 budget, city employee eligibility for on-call or casual seasonal laborers, tabled on 10/27/21, and sports complex. Let me, before I turn this back over to Stephanie, and we'll talk about dates. Brian, Attorney Lindsay, sorry. Working session tabled item. Any issue there? The reason we tabled is because we're all over the board on it. We need to not waste 4 hours discussing it at a council meeting, try to figure out if we're gonna allow this or not. So get some sense on where we can land. So thoughts on that? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's, Mayor, it would be perfectly acceptable to take up a tabled item at a working session. The important piece when tabling an item is to continue it to a definite point in the future or to reestablish it on a future agenda. But between the date when it's tabled and that future agenda, by all means, the council can set appropriate working sessions or meetings to take that issue up.
Okay. So we're looking to schedule a working session to discuss those three items. Typically, we would do that. Stephanie, what are we thinking? We're trying to get it done before the November 22nd meeting with the school, obviously, because we want to discuss that a little bit amongst ourselves.
Yes, so next week.
Council, how's your next week look? The 18th is bad for me. I got a HRA meeting. That's all I got scheduled right now that I know. Well, Friday isn't good either, but
I'm only free Monday and Tuesday next week.
Mr. Mayor, I am unavailable on Monday.
how about next Tuesday?
Tuesday works for me.
5 o'clock? In person, Senior Citizen Center?
I'll make that motion, 5 o'clock, Tuesday, November 16th at Senior Center.
Did you say 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
Okay, motion to hold that working session, Senior Citizens, next week on the 16th at 5 p.m. Margaret, do you have a calendar? Do we know if there's anything going on there? I didn't think
We'd
that.
have to call them to find out if there's anything going on. They do have bingo events going on this month, but I don't think it's the 16th. I would have to check.
Brian, what happens if we have to change it at the last second and come across the street or something? Find a big area we can meet.
Well, we would run into a little bit of trouble if we're moving from one location to another. Mayor, I'd actually need to look at that issue a little bit. We may be able to post a new notice and or have somebody down at the Senior Citizen Center redirecting people if we're close enough, but that would be an unusual practice.
Let's look for a second on the 16th at 5 p.m. at Senior Citizen Center.
Second, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Council, further discussion? We'll figure it out. Further?
Mayor, if I may, who made the first motion?
Adam, I believe.
Thank you. Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikuloraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, schedule a working session for comprehensive plan. Stephanie, I'll just let you take this.
Sure, all of you should have received an email addressing the, proposed tourist district where Redhead, MDC, and St. Louis County Fairgrounds is located. The comp planning group has recommended having a, working session so they can present the information of both anything that they have gathered on that topic and then also the finalized comprehensive plan. They, next week, they actually could, the only day that they could not meet was Tuesday, which it kind of sounded like that was the only date that the council was available to meet, or else it's going to have to be after Thanksgiving.
Council thoughts on it? Thanksgiving's on the 25th. Are we in a hurry? Can we put it in December, like first week in December?
We can.
What else we got going on then? There's nothing on the council side, right?
I don't believe so.
Council, how about, like, I don't, maybe the first even. Let's understand the first.
So there's an IROC meeting that night.
Okay.
Hey, Steph, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the joint meeting with all parties, or are they just meeting with us first?
This is where they're gonna bring all the feedback from the memo and have the discussion. And then, once the discussion is held, then it would have to, the comp plan would have to come to council for approval.
So I think it would be beneficial if we had at least, well, whether we want to add it to our working session, or if we had a discussion to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as what they're getting feedback on, because I know I was mass confused today when I had a conversation with someone until I called you to clear it up for me. So I'm sure I'm not the only one that has some questions or concerns about it.
Sure, I did reach out to the comp planning folks today. I haven't heard back from them to send out some clarification on that too, Travis.
Okay, good, thanks.
Can this be included on November 16th meeting? Or do we have to have a special meeting for this?
It can be, it would just lengthen that meeting, but it could be. We could bring it up at the big, well, it has to be Zoom.
Oh, okay, all right. How about November 30th, Tuesday?
I'm okay with that. I'm kind of stuck on this whole thing with what Travis brought up. How about we add a two-part to this thing? We add a discussion on that memo in our working session amongst ourselves on the 16th meeting. And then if the council's in agreement, we hold that meeting with the SE group on the 30th if they're available.
I like that idea.
I like it.
Stephanie, did they have a sense of when they're going to do it Zoom? So as long as they're available on the 30th, we can make it work, right?
I can reach out to them and double check that date.
So council, let's do that. I'll make the motion to add that memo and the city's stance to our working session, discuss it a little bit, and then we'll have Stephanie reach out to hold that Zoom meeting on the 30th with the SE group. Stephanie, you got a time we should try to set it for? Did they have a set like 5 o'clock or something?
Sure, I can try for 5 o'clock.
And then council, for some reason, this doesn't work out. We got the 24th council meeting. We could sort out that second meeting at that point. If maybe if the 30th doesn't work out, Stephanie can bring us some other dates we can look at. So, motion to do that then? I don't think I have one yet.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Second for that.
Second, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Further discussion, council? All right.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
would you need to amend the motion and support from the previous one for the working session on the 16th to add that memo?
Brian could probably answer that, but I made a new motion to add it to that meeting, so my opinion would be it'd probably be okay. But Brian?
Mr. Mayor, you are correct. If we've got a subsequent motion, so long as we're adding notice and we're giving appropriate notice, we can do it by separate motions and consolidate it into one agenda, essentially.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Margaret, for asking about that.
Councilor Halverson.
Aye.
Councilor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Councilor Fountain.
Aye.
Councilor Lance.
Aye.
Councilor Vlaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Last item, council, we had, for the most part, agreed on that November 22nd. We thought it was going to be 6 p.m. It's been confirmed that I think we thought this was about the exact time we had met. So looking for a motion to hold that in-person meeting with the school board for the sports complex on Monday, November 22nd, 2021. Stephanie, where are we holding that? At the school, right?
That is correct.
So council looking for a motion to hold that meeting with the school board.
Mr. Mayor, could you repeat that, please?
So we'll be holding a joint meeting with the Chisholm School Board to discuss the sports complex lease Monday, November 22nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. That's what I'd be looking for the motion for.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Support. Thank you, April. Thank you, Travis. Further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I believe it's located in the elementary building. Is that where they meet?
Yes, typically. Stephanie, can you get an email out to everybody? Check into that, make sure everybody knows where we're meeting.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, usually in the library on the 3rd floor, right where Marty was talking, in that middle school.
Okay. We'll confirm that and make sure everybody knows where we're going on that night. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Stephanie. All right, revised agenda format, change reporting section. Council, this actually isn't all my idea. Stephanie actually brought it to me. There are a couple things, reason for it. It makes a little bit more sense. We have our departments that kind of fall together, kind of reporting in a closer order. And then our city administrator, economic development is just one of the items under her title. So rather than have her give 2 reports, each time we go through our report, she can just give a report as a city administrator, and it'll include economic development, along with some other, basically they're just items to hopefully streamline the meeting a little bit and make it a little bit where our different departments fall together better. There was some discussion, I've heard some discussion from council members as well about oral reports versus written reports by our staff, our department heads. I'll give you my opinion on that, especially during these Zoom meetings. I like to hear from the department heads. I know a lot about what they're going to say because if I'm available, I attend the staff meeting that our administrator holds on the Tuesday before the council meeting. But I like to hear from our department heads because what it does is it allows our residents at home to hear what's going on in each department. And it allows the different departments to hear from the other departments and give input during these proceedings, or at least know what's going on in them if they're, if they haven't had a chance to talk. So I think it's good. As long as we kind of keep it streamlined and we think about what we're going to say and keep it moving, it does. It takes an hour to get through the first part of the meeting, but I don't. I'm here for the duration on these 2 nights out of the month. So to me, it doesn't matter. But I like the new layout. I think it makes some sense. And I just open it up to the council to give some feedback on it. It would be go ahead.
That looks good to me.
I was going to say it would be a temporary change. We would basically use the format until January when we do our reorganizational meeting where we'll like ratify it officially, as part of our, but, I think it makes sense. It came from the administrator and, for the most part, and, I like it. Make a motion for that, Adam?
I'll make a motion to adopt the new revised agenda format.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Second for Adam's motion, Council.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Council, thoughts on the report process a little bit?
I like the verbal communication.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have motion support to change the format slightly. There's no further discussion, no. Margaret, take a vote.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mickleraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. All right, letter of support US EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant Program. Council, a lot of people don't know what brownfields are. Basically, they're polluted land. There's a revolving fund of money to try to clean up these, usually having to do with petroleum products, old gas stations, storage facilities, whatnot. Looking for a letter of support for this program so it continues. Good program. We did adopted a resolution supporting it back in January 9th of 2019. So motion to give the letter of support for the Brownfield Coalition.
Motion.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Adam. Council, further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mickleraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion carries. Council, next item, if you actually read the sleigh route, I think you end up somewhere by the arena, not back at Jim's. But request from Callie Harris with the Chisholm Lions Club for a sleigh ride event on November 27th, 2021. They've done this in the past. I don't know that their sleigh route has to be specific. When I read the letter, I was thinking to myself, well, it's obviously got to be all rights or all lefts so you don't get back to the same spot. Spoke a little bit about it with, I don't even know who, Margaret this morning, maybe Stephanie. I think the best route for them, the safest route for them, if they're okay with it, would be to go up, they're starting out in front of Jim Sports Club, to go up that half a block, take that right, go to First Street, then go all the way down to Central and come back up to, Central to First back to the main street. Keeps them away from Highway 73 up there. And I think it does what they want. The route's the exact same distance. I don't know how Kelly would feel about it, but that would be my recommendation. I don't know if anybody has spoken to her. I didn't get a chance today. I was busy. Travis, did you? You were nodding your head a little bit there. No?
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
So that's the route that they usually take. If you've never been on the sleigh ride before, I've been on it. So they do the exact route that you just said.
Okay, so they go up to 2nd Avenue, they take a right, go to First Street, take a right, go down to Central Avenue, take a right, come back to Lake Street, take a right, and end up back at the Sports Club. Okay. Council motion to allow her to have that sleigh ride with that route, if I could.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Adam.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Council, further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mickleraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Notice of nominations for Rams Board of Directors. Council, I'm the actual Rams board member from the city of Chisholm. They're going to have election in December. My term is up. Looking for a nomination. We're allowed a nomination. We still have to run during that thing, during their annual meeting. Quite frankly, I like the meetings. They're very informative because, you know, it's the coalition of our schools and our cities, and there's school board members, there's principals, there's council members, there's mayors. So it's very interesting, but when it ends up happening, they're held Thursday nights at 6:30 at night. And, you know, with council meetings on Wednesday nights, I find that Tuesdays and Thursdays are my nights that are my days I got to get my job done, and I end up running over, and I have actually missed the last two. April's actually my alternate, and I end up, it's the last minute before I find out I'm going to miss these meetings or I'm not going to make it back. So I haven't even been able to contact her to see if she was available. So I would like to get off this board, but I would like to, I think it would be good for somebody from the council to be nominated. You know, I would look to April 1st just because she is the alternate, but, you know, I'd like to look at us nominating somebody else and hopefully they can get on that board. It's a good meeting. April, you got anything thoughts on being on that board?
Thanks, but I just really like being the alternate person. Is there anybody from our school district on there, Mr. Mayor?
I do not know that. I don't know that.
Mr. Mayor.
But let me add something to that before I let you chat in, Cheyenne. The school board can also nominate somebody if they'd like to. They have that opportunity. Go ahead, Cheyenne.
I believe the school board has somebody that serves on that board. I believe it's their current school board president, Bob Raha, but I'm not positive.
Okay. But
I would do it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. But yeah, because they're a member of Rams, April, they can nominate their own person as well. So Travis, because he's got all his extra time, wants to do one more thing for us. I appreciate that, Travis. Council looking for a motion to nominate Travis to serve on the Rams board and put him in that election at the end of the year here for.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Trev.
Or thank you, Travis.
Okay, motion by April, second by Adam. Further discussion? And then just a note, if Travis gets in, we'll talk about his alternate. I think we actually voted on who the alternate was. I don't even recall, but we'll take that up if he's the new main person. We want to keep April as the alternate. Heard it?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mickleraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Tampa.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Accept Jim Varda's resignation from the Parks and Rec Board and the Planning Zoning Commission, and obviously send Jim a very nice letter thanking him for serving on those boards. Past counselor, past firefighter. It's like Jim's trying to get out of everything. So motion to accept Jim's resignation from our two boards, our board and our commission, and send that letter off. Council.
I'll make that motion to accept his resignations and send him a letter of thanks. And I also, never mind.
Okay, motion by Councilor Lance, second by Councilor Mickleraha. Further discussion.
I forgot to bring up on my report, Jim came down to the fire hall and he, donated a bunch of candy to help pass out, and he came and spent some time with us, and a very dedicated individual and a citizen of our town. He comes all the time, at different events, so I just forgot to mention that earlier, so thank you, Jim, for everything you do for the city.
I hardly have any problem with him except he's praised for snow. Margaret?
Mayor, I'd also like to thank previous Councilor Varda for serving on the Planning Commission. It was very nice.
Thank you, Mandy.
I would like to echo what Mandy said, only for the Parks and Rec Board. He had a lot of dedication to my department, and I appreciated everything he did.
Thank you. Margaret?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, it's good. April.
are we gonna post for those board openings then?
I'll meet with Margaret before the next council meeting, and if we got some openings, we'll look at getting them posted. I look at things a little different. I've always have. If there's an opening on a board, I'm always looking for applicants, but we can officially post for that next meeting if we got openings. So, Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mickel-Alaha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. Council, the last item, discuss liquidated damages on the 3rd Street Northwest project. I felt like we needed to, they're well past their deadline. We do not have substantial completion yet. I met with the city engineer today. I told him I would like to come up with a number tonight. He asked me to please just hold off. He provided me with an entire schedule, basically, of the project, of every day they were on site, who was on site, basically, rain days, holidays. I'm going to ask Jim right now to provide that to the council, everything that I got from him today. Jim just said, let us get this project to substantial completion, and then we'll have that talk. We're going to get a report from the engineer on the job, SEH, since they're our representative on the project. So after speaking to Jim, council, I would just like to leave this as informational tonight, and just hold off on having that discussion until we have all the information. And I'll just ask Jim that he provide everything to you, including the SEH report when he gets it, so we can have a real good discussion. As a side note to that, I did go to the project today with Larry and Stephanie to take a look at the project. I have a very big concern, and I'm going to talk to Jim about it as soon as I get a minute. But I got a funny feeling the council is going to request that all the curbing on the entire project be replaced. I can tell you that'd be my recommendation. If you get a chance to go down there and take a look at the project, you'll see that the person that was compacting the blacktop ran along the edge of the curb line and actually cracked the edges off of the curbs on nearly the entire project. And I can tell you that will be unacceptable to me when we do a final punch list. So if you get a chance before the snow, go down there, take a look at it, because once the snow hits, we did do a recording of it and everything else and note it, because we want to make sure that the blame is not put on our snow plowers this winter, that it's well documented. So we're going to get back to that, but I can tell you, if you go down there and look at it, you're going to just shake your head and ask what they were thinking. So, Council, anybody want to chime in on anything to do with that project before we move on tonight and look for a motion to adjourn?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Jim, could you reiterate and repeat to the council what the dates were for substantial completion and final completion?
Yes, Marty, the substantial completion date was August 27th. As of today, we're 75 days beyond that point. Final completion is by July 1 of 2022. Basically, what's left to do substantial completion is the sodding of the yards and boulevard areas and the application of the final wearing course surface.
Okay, another question, Jim. Were they having supply chain issues like everybody else with every other commodity or on any product, manholes, anything at all that you're aware of?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, I think when you mentioned the sodding and the second coat of blacktop, I think you meant the final completion, right? I think you said substantial completion again when you mentioned that.
You are correct, Mayor. The substantial completion when it's ready for use, the utilities in the streets, which is basically where they're at right now. That date was August 27th of this year. Final completion is by July 1 of next year, which is completion of the sodding and the application of that final wearing course surface.
Okay. Council, if there's nothing else, I'd look for motion to adjourn unless we got a lot coming up again already without adding anything, but look for motion to adjourn.
I'll be taking a walk. Sorry, Adam. I'll be taking a walk around there. If anyone else wants to join me, you were all around when I walked around E Street and made my own punch list. So I'll happily be doing that again on this project, especially since it's the same contractors. So, but I will turn it over to Adam, and then I will make a motion to adjourn.
No, I was just gonna make that motion myself, but I suppose I'll see you there.
Can I just say one thing quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
I just want to say happy Veterans Day tomorrow and thank you for all served. We appreciate it.
Oh, how did we forget that? Got too many things on our plate. Yeah, that's our country, those folks. And the city's crew even gets a day off unless it snows. All right, so Travis made a motion to adjourn. Adam, you seconding it? Is that the?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to all our veterans.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Everybody have a good evening. Talk to you next week. This meeting is adjourned.